Welcome to Patch Does Things. Are you feeling alright? You might could use some pine needle tea.
If you lose, you'll be unthinkable. Don't stop till you come first. Life's so unpredictable. Take control of what you're worth.
Pine needle tea is exactly what it sounds like. It's a decoction of pine needles in boiling water. The same way that tea is a decoction of tea leaves in boiling water. So I guess it's not actually tea anymore that coffee would be coffee bean tea. But going around saying, I'm having pine needle decoction, makes you sound like a tool. So why would you drink pine needle tea? Well, besides the fact that it makes your house smell fantastic every time you make it, and it tastes great, is the fact that it tastes kind of like Christmas. No, other than that, it's absolutely loaded with vitamin C, fat-soluble vitamin A, which is important for your eye health. In different cultures throughout the world, pine needle tea has been touted as a cure for all kinds of things. But one thing is for sure, it is a recognized cure for scurvy. Vitamin C is also known to boost your immune system, which is especially important this time of year for staying away from colds and flu and Zika and Bigfoot. When the settlers first arrived in the Americas, they didn't have a good source of vitamin C that they knew of. All of the fruits and things that provided vitamin C for them back in Europe were not available in the Americas. The Native Americans in the area recognized that the settlers were simply vitamin C deficient and knew exactly what to do. They made pine needle tea. Pine needle tea cured vitamin C deficiency in the settlers. It's theorized that without pine needle tea, the settlers would not have survived their first winter, and America as we know it wouldn't exist today. Now we're gonna get into how to make this stuff in just a second, and it's super easy. But first, some warnings. Warning! Do not drink pine needle tea if you are pregnant. Pasture animals like goats and cows and things have been known to get into the pine needles, and it has been reported that when they do, they involuntarily abort their fetuses. So, if you are pregnant, do not drink pine needle tea. Warning! Do not boil the water for your pine needle tea in an aluminum pan, because there might be a reaction between the aluminum metal and the pine needles. Also, if you're doing all your boiling in aluminum pans, get rid of your aluminum pans. Cook in a regular pan like a regular person. Warning! Don't boil pine needles in a closed container. That could release dangerous turpentine. Warning! Don't consume pine needle tea if you are allergic to pine or tree nuts. Just saying. Warning! All pines are evergreens, but not all evergreens are pines. Never make pine needle tea out of yew. Not you, but, Y-E-W, yew. Don't make it out of Norfolk Island pine. Now, when you see these things, they're not the pine needles that you're used to seeing. They're a completely different kind of evergreen leaf. And it is not wise to eat anything that you haven't identified positively. So please, if you're planning on making pine needle tea, and you should, it's super easy and it's very good for you, know your trees, know what grows around you. Hey, let's go for a walk and gather those needles now. Now this is exactly what we're looking for. This is a loblolly pine. You can tell because the pine needles are between 3 and 9 inches long, which is common, and they come in groups of 3, not 4, not 5, not any other number but 3. Loblolly pines grow all up and down the East Coast. It's likely what's near you. If you're out west, you might have something different. Now what you're looking for typically and luckily are the lower needles. The higher needles are actually older, and you're looking for the young green needles. These needles are perfect. We're not too close to any roadway. You don't want to collect anything that's close to a roadway due to exhaust and runoff. All you really need for a single glass of pine needle tea is a good handful. I'm going to make a little bit for me and my family, so I'm going to take a few handfuls. This happens to be Queen Anne's lace, or wild carrot. That's for another video. Now that you got pine needles, let's make this stuff. Go and get yourself a mug. Any old mug will do, but I prefer one that's trendy. Now it's just a matter of chopping your pine needles into the bottom of that cup. All it takes is about a loose handful. If you want, you can bruise the pine needles with a spoon to get a little bit of extra flavor. Once the bottom of your trendy mug is covered in pine needles, pour in boiling water. Look at how those bright green needles float to the top. Now just cover and let sit for about 10 minutes. When you come back to it, give it a little stir, and you'll notice that those needles are now kind of dull and they've all sunk to the bottom. Your tea is ready. At this point, you can mix in a little honey or maybe cinnamon, or whatever you want. I don't care. I don't have to drink it. Now, since all these pine needles naturally sink to the bottom, you don't really need to strain it to drink it. but if you prefer to, just a little strainer or some cheesecloth should do the trick. I prefer to drink my pine needle tea seated, in front of my many books.
Yummy.
That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. If you could click the like button and subscribe to my channel, that'd help me out a lot. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. What should Patch do next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Patch, and I do things.
Life too unpredictable, take control of